Hello everyone, welcome to today's session on maps. So far in this webinar series, we have seen several sessions around sets, we have seen list, we have seen queues, we saw why collections are used. Now this is the second last session in this series on collections framework, right? And tomorrow we are going to, after today we discuss maps, tomorrow we are going to talk about iterator, and also we'll take a few questions around whatever we have discussed so far. So take 3-4 questions, do a quick brush up of what we have seen so far, and see how collections questions or programs actually come in the interviews, right? So starting off with today's session, let me just say a quick hi to everyone who has joined. There is Live Project, there's Bhargav, Dinesh, Ashwajit. Live Project says that tomorrow is my interview, guys. All the best. I hope you have a great interview. Nizamuddin has joined, Veera has joined, Chinmay, Ginom, Bhupendra, Narendra. Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me. And for those of you who are new to the session today, who have not seen the webinar series that we have done so far, you can go back to the channel and go to the playlist, go to the video section and find out the rest of the series. So we did this 7-session webinar every day at 7 p.m. and this is the 6th session, so you can go back and watch all the previous 5 sessions in YouTube as well as Facebook channel, both the places we have it up. And let's, without any further wait, let's quickly go to today's session. So we have seen so far, let's quickly walk through the slides. Collections, methods, collections class, synchronized concurrent collection, we have seen list, we have seen array list and linked list, we have seen vector, stack, set implementations, sorted set, navigable set. Queue is what we saw yesterday, and queue implementations, dequeue. Then we saw all these methods. There were around 12 methods that were there for dequeue, so we saw all methods. And today we are going to move on to the map collection. Now what is map collection used for? What do you guys understand when I say a map? How the data is stored in the map? Let me give you a few seconds to see the response that I get. What do you understand by map? Narendra, I'm not sure when we'll start Hibernate classes. There are a few projects in the pipeline, including a few of the topics that you guys have said and a few that we want to introduce on the channel. But Hibernate also, I have taken a note of it. You can subscribe to the channel so that whenever Hibernate happens, you get a notification and you can join in on those videos. Veera says key pairs. Dinesh is saying keep value pair. Hi Vijay. Unique keys to values. Okay, Madhav Rabu says representation of data on a chart. That is not a very correct definition of or what map does, Madhav Rapu. Map stores data in key and value. Key must be unique. That's Mahesh. key value, key value, key value. Okay, so most of you are aware that map stores data in key value pairs. So first off, remember the interface. java.util.map interface is what we use to deal with maps. On Facebook we have Somendra. Somendra, your comments are very much visible. Then we have Akbar Said. Hi Akbar. We have Manish Kumar also with us. Alright, so let me start off. Map stores data in key value pairs. Right, now why do we need to store data in key value pairs? What is the purpose of having map? Let's say you have to store the data of country name and the capital of the country, right? So that whenever you search for the country name, you can easily get the capital of the country, or let's say you are searching for the capital, you can search simultaneously for the country to which it belongs, right? How do you implement such kind of structure in your program? One simple way that everybody knows is using arrays, right? You create an array that would store countries at different index values, okay, so on. So there is a country, let's say India, then let's say we have Pakistan, etc., so on, right? And then this becomes our country. Now we create one more array for storing the capital, and just make sure that the capital of the country at index 0 is at the place here at index 0 as well. So Delhi comes at index 0, right? So that in a way, if you are checking that, okay, we want to find the capital of the country that is at index 5. So you know that the country is at index 5, so in the capital array, the capital would also be at index 5. So you just figure out the index of the country in the country array, check the simultaneous index in the capital array. Similarly, you want to find the country to which Delhi belongs, whose capital is Delhi. So you know that Delhi is at index 0 in the capital array. You can go back in the country array and check for the same index, right? This is what will work for you. This is how you can implement this country capital structure using an array. But if you don't want to go through all this drama of creating two arrays, having to figure out the index of the structure, the country that you are looking for, then using that index and looking up the value in the capital array, what you can do instead is you can create a map. Now, how will map help us in this situation? Map stores data in key and value pairs. So let's say the key becomes our countries, okay, and the value becomes the capital. Then all you have to do is you have to, in the map, search for the country key and get the value of that particular key. That is it. You don't have to bother about creating two arrays. You don't have to bother about looking through one, then simultaneously checking the value for the same index in the other. Simply create a map. The country key will give you the value as the capital, right? Very simple application of, this is a very simple application of how you can use maps, how maps, sort out your life, make your program easy, correct? Let's move on to the next slide. So we have map interface. Now how do we add data into it, or how do we remove data from it? So since map stores value in key value pairs, whenever you are adding any data to a map, you have to say put, okay? So you say put followed by the key. So in our case, the key is country name, right? So let's say India is our key, followed by the value, that is Delhi, okay? So we say key value pair India and Delhi. All right, that is how we insert data into a map. Now let's say we already have a map and we want to create a new map, so we use put all. put all and pass the current map into it. Okay. Similarly, if you want to remove, you can remove just by mentioning the key. If you want to remove this, let's say you incorrectly entered this data, India, and the capital you mentioned instead of Delhi, let's say Hyderabad, which is incorrect, and now you want to remove it. Okay, so you simply have to say remove India. That will remove this particular key value pair from the map, and then you can add the right entry inside. Okay, get key will give you the value. So you want to know the capital of India, what data is stored here, you say get India. All right, that will give you the value. Similarly, contains key, check whether some particular key is present in the map or not. Okay, now further moving on, let's take a look at the map implementations. So there are several map implementations as you see here. We have a hash map, we have hash table, we have enum map, identity hash map, linked hash map, we have tree map, weak hash map, property. All these implementations just slightly differ from each other in the way that they store data and in the way that we manipulate data, right? So what is all this useful for? How is this working for us? Let's take a look at a few of these. Hash map, let's say for example. So hash map uses hash table to store data in the form of map. Now it allows, there are a few properties to it. It allows only unique elements. It allows for one null key. You can have only one null key in the hash map. And then for values, you can have multiple null values. All right. Now, how is the data ordered in a hash map? There is no order to data stored in a hash map. All right. So these are few of the characteristics of a hash map. Now let's take a look at some other implementation. Let's say we take a look at linked hash map. Now how is linked hash map storing data? It uses hash table along with linked list to store data, right? So it combines hash table and linked list implementation to store data in the form of map. Now everything else again in the linked hash map has all these properties as I just mentioned here, similar properties, but in addition to that, a linked hash map maintains insertion order. All right. So hash map, it does not maintain any order. You keep adding values in random order, but linked hash map allows you to maintain insertion order. Now let's say hash table. Now hash table, simply put, is an array of list. All right. What is the difference between hash map and hash table? A hash map is not synchronized. Whereas a hash table is synchronized. Okay, and also a hash table, a hash map allows you to have one null key and multiple null values, whereas in a hash table you cannot have null key and of course you cannot have null values. There is no null value allowed in a hash table implementation of a map. So these are the little differences between different implementations based on which you choose which one of the implementation you want to use in your program, right? So enum map is a map implementation that works on enums, okay, like we saw before while we were checking sets, correct? We saw enum there. So enum map is another implementation that works on enum, correct? Now let's go ahead and take a look at the code here. So we have created a map, that is map A, and we have made it a hash map. So we have used our interface. See, map is an interface here, and hash map is the actual concrete class that we are using. Okay, so this is the simple syntax for creating a map or a set or a linked list, anything. Correct. Now how do you put data into it? You use the put function, provide the key, then provide the element value, that is the value. Now if you want to check the value at a particular key, you just say map.get key name, right? And when you want to remove, you say map.remove. So like this, you can also simultaneously be using other collection interface functions that are available to work with different collections. And once you know how to work with one collection or one piece of code, it is fairly simple to apply the same to rest of the collections. The only trick with collections and knowing collections the best is that you should be aware of how one is different from the other. Like here in hash map and hash table, you should be aware that if you have to create a synchronized map implementation, you will be using hash table, not hash map. Because if you use hash map, again you can synchronize it further, but that is a two-step process, correct? So you directly use hash table. On the other hand, let's say if your data you don't want to have any null key value pair, you know that hash map will allow to have one null key and it will allow to have multiple null values, but you don't want any null values in your map, so you straight ahead go for a hash table. If you want to maintain the insertion order in your map implementation, you go for linked hash maps. So these are the simple details that you have to remember to decide which particular map implementation is applicable for your program. All right. Jumping on to the next slide, we have sorted map. So we have map here. Let me show you the hierarchy. Then we have sorted map, and this implements navigable map. So these are all interfaces. Okay. Now if you have to see the implementations for map, we have seen all implementations before. Sorted map is implemented as a tree map. Similarly, navigable map is also implemented as a tree map. Now like we saw sorted map, sorted and navigable before, they simply allow for ordering of the elements that are inserted. So by default the order is ascending order, but you can also do descending order by calling descending key set function on a tree map. So if you want the data to be available to you in descending order, you just call the function descending key set and the data will be in descending order of the keys. All right. And similarly, navigable map. Now what navigable map does is it is a subtype of the sorted map and it allows for easy navigability of data. How? We saw these functions in one of our prior sessions, right? Head, tail, sub. Now what they do is, let's say you say head map 3, that is the key value. So head map will give you all the values in the map that are less than 3. Tail map, again if you say 5 here, you give the input value as 5. Tail map will give you a map that is made out of your original map, but this one now will have all the values that are greater than 5, right? So it will give you a subset of your original map. All these functions give you a subset of the original map on which you call these functions based on certain conditions. If you want a map which has data less than 3, you call head map. If you want a map which has data greater than some value, you call tail map. If you want a sub map, by sub map I mean you give 2 values, let's say 7 to 20. So the sub map will give you the values, the key value pair from your original map, but only those key value pairs will be included in the sub map which have data ranging between 7 and 20. All right, so these are the functionalities that navigable map add on top of your sorted map. Like you saw here, navigable map is a subset of sorted map, correct? So these functionalities are added on top of the map, remains sorted. In addition, you have certain functionalities that are provided by the navigable map interface that allow you to break down the data further. All right, now since we have already seen our implementations of set and list and queues before, I'm pretty sure that understanding map would have been fairly easy for you today. Let me quickly go back and check the questions that you guys are posting. All right, there has been a lot going on the chat. Okay. Live project says Java map interface provides methods for storing values based on key basis. Methods of map interface, methods of map entry interface. That is true. Veera, thank you so much for your comment. I hope that you're learning a lot and you're learning fast, and you're more than learning, I hope that you're enjoying the process of learning through these sessions. That is more important to me, that you learn but you enjoy also while you're learning, right? And the practice that you're doing after these sessions become easy and more comfortable and cheerful process for you rather than getting scared of coding. So I hope that is also achieved in the process for you. Mahesh said data representation in 2D way. So data representation in a key value set way. So there are two values, key and the value associated to the key. That is the representation. Karan, it's okay. I think you did not miss much. You would have seen the whole process. Now, Rhythm says map is an object that maps keys to values. The map cannot contain duplicate keys. Okay. Bhargav says I'm new to this topic. If I see this, I will understand or not. I'm hoping you would have already seen it by now, because I'm checking the comments after explaining the topic. And if you have not understood anything in the session, just quickly ping here so that I can do a quick recap. And you don't have to worry if you're new to the topic. You can any day go back to where the webinar started from the first session. There are small half an hour or so sessions each. So you can quickly go back to those sessions and watch them at your own speed and time availability. And you'll get to know that collections are not as difficult or as, cumbersome to understand as they look. They are fairly simple. There are few trick points. Maybe once or twice you go through those sessions, you'll get to know, okay, this is doing this particular thing. This is used if you have to implement XYZ kind of features. And that's all to it. Other than that, it's fairly simple. Madhav Rapu says, ma'am, can you make a session on UI technologies? All right. Point noted, Madhav Rapu. UI technologies and MVC architecture was also suggested by you guys. Design patterns is one topic that you all are very interested in. Hibernate came up in the session today. So yeah, we'll keep adding them to the list, and as and when we get time, we'll go ahead, take the topics that you guys tell us one by one. Okay, we have Ashokan with us on the session again today, and thank you so much, Ashokan, for answering the question. I think I missed it somewhere. Pankaj, I hope your question is answered and very clear to you now. References. Okay guys, for those of you who are not aware of who Ashokan is. He is the head of everything technical that goes on in TalentSprint, and since he's on the chat right now, you guys can post any questions and you'll get the best of the best answer in the simplest of the language possible. So make sure you take advantage of whenever you see Ashokan Pichai commenting on the chat. Make sure that you take as much advantage of him as you can in the session, because it's very difficult to get hold of him. He's a very busy man. So one of cases, if he's joining the chat, you keep an eye on it and you make the most out of it, I would say. All right, what else do we have? Okay, Ashwajit is asking, what is the difference when we create object like hash map equal to new hash map and map equal to new hash map? Ashwajit, I think you posted something like this. You posted a question like this yesterday as well, and I guess I missed it out. I saw the chat after the session that you asked something like this. Let me park this question for today. Let's go tomorrow and I'll walk you through a program on Eclipse. That's my plan for tomorrow actually, that I'll walk you through a program on Eclipse where I'll use both of these functionalities. One, hash map equal to new hash map, and two, map equal to new hash map. And then we'll run the program live, and then I think it would be easier and faster for you to understand why we are using this and why we are not using what you are mentioning right there. All right, so tune into tomorrow's session. I'll get Eclipse on the screen for you guys tomorrow. We'll walk through a program and then I would want to answer this. So just park this question for today. We'll take it up tomorrow, Ashwajit. Bhagyuday is asking, map have key value in, can map have key value in number form instead of string? It can have value in whatever form you would want to store the data. If you want it to be a string, it can be a string. Like the example we took, country and capital, we would want it to be a string, right? Other than that, if you don't want it to be a string, you want some number values as keys, you can do that as well. There's no limitation to what value you can go as key. All right. Veera is asking, I cannot able to clear first round. Veera, the first round you say is your for your interviews, right? Is aptitude, and you are not able to clear it, and then you're not, because of which you are not able to move on to the technical rounds. So Veera, we have aptitude videos as well on the IT channel, and if they don't suffice for the practice, you can move on to the TalentSprint Bank and SSE channel, where we have a lot of content on aptitude and reasoning and all such topics that are generally asked in the preliminary rounds of any interview. All right, so you can subscribe to the Bank and SSE channel to get latest updates and videos, and there's a lot of content in there apart from the live videos that are done on the channel to help you prepare for all these quant apti kind of things. Let's say you are giving e-litmus or co-cubes or any such exam, you're preparing for any such exam, you can watch the videos on that channel. They are very helpful, very simple to understand, and I think they would suffice, more than suffice, for your practice and preparation for anything related to aptitude or quant or English. Even there are a lot of English videos which are very interesting and which would be again very helpful to all of you, because you're going for an interview, right? You have to be strong enough in your English, spoken English, to present yourself as a confident, smart person you are. Sometimes the technical knowledge is good enough in the students, but they are not able to project it right to the interviewer, which kind of is the reason why they are declined in the interviews. It's one thing to have the qualities that you need to crack the interview, and it's another thing altogether to be able to present all those qualities that you have in the right way to the interviewer, right? So make sure that you have that knack over the language, you have that knack over your spoken language, you have that confidence in your demeanor and character that you can say, okay, I know this, and even if I don't know a few of the things right now that you are asking me in this interview, I am capable of learning all those things on my own, and I am capable of improving myself down the process after I have joined the company. So they should not be, they should not leave you thinking that, okay, he doesn't know and he cannot even grow. You should leave an impression, fine, if I don't know a certain things at this point of time, I will get faster and easy learning than the rest of the people out there who are giving the interview. So you should be able to project that confidence in your capabilities and your talents, right? So yeah, that was a bit off track, but coming back to the point, go to the Bank and SSC channel. There are videos on IT channel as well, so you can take a look at that. But if you want more details on the same, you can go to the TalentSprint Bank and SSC channel. All right. What next? Pratesh has asked, what is the use of overriding hash code and equal method? And Nigam is asking, please explain internal architecture of hash map. I think someone asked the internal architecture of, we came across hashing, and someone of you already asked me hashing. That is rightly mentioned by Ashokan also here, that is a huge topic in itself, which I skipped that time as well. In I think the second or the third series video in the webinar, someone asked to explain hashing. That would take a lot of time. Maybe down the line we can do a video on hashing itself to explain you the concept of hashing and how hash tables and all these things work. Use the hashing concept to store data and manipulate data, right? So that maybe we can take up sometime later. And Ashokan has answered, so I'll read it out for all of you. Think of it as mapping an object to a large number, so that for all practical purposes we can use the hash instead of the object. So what you essentially do, like he said, is you map an object to a hash number, that is a large number basically, and later down the line, instead of remembering the object or the value in the object, etc., all those details about the object, you refer to it with the hash number or the hash code that you have with you. That is how it works. And then he says that we can quickly compare two objects and check if they are the same by comparing the hashes. So if there are two objects with the same hashes, you can compare them. That is faster comparison between two different objects to check whether they are same or not. All right. Okay, Veera is asking, while taking array list and vector list, you told the size increases half and increases double, but in tricky questions of list, you told to add function. You told add function, but it will increase. That's correct, Veera. Size by increase the size by 1. So that is correct. See, what happens is whenever you are adding an element into your array list or a vector, let's say your list is full, whatever size it was made of, it is full. So when you add an element on top, by default what happens is the size of the array list increases by half more. So let's say the size is 10. When you add an element at the 11th position, the size will become 15, right? Now for vector, as you have mentioned, the size would be double. Let's say you now in a vector, if you add an element at the 11th position, the size of the array would then become 20. from 10 it would become 20, so it doubles up, correct? Now there are functionalities like ensure capacity function. I'm sure since you have watched all the sessions, you have referred to 3 different sessions that we have seen in your question. The ensure capacity function increases the capacity by the amount that you mention. So if you say ensure capacity becomes 17, it will become 17. Then it will not work by the default format it works on, right? Or for same case for the vector, if you increase the size of the vector by saying dot ensure capacity, by calling the ensure capacity function, it will not double up. If you say ensure capacity 19, it will not be 20 then, because you are overriding the default functionality by the size that you want, right? And that is the prime purpose of having functions like this. Now you're mentioning that add function increase size by 1. So depending on what functionality is being implemented, is it being done by the default way, or have you overridden the code by doing something that you wanted to do? Based on that, it increases the size. So could be increased by 1, could be increased by 20, could be increased by 40, depending on what you are asking the program to do, right? Now default is that, but on top of it you can do whatever you want as per your program requirement. All right. HM says hashing would be great. Okay, I see many of you are interested in that too. Cool. So maybe we can take up MVC and add hashing to it. Do maybe next Monday, when the Monday session will happen, that is next Monday, right? We would have a session on YouTube, live session on YouTube. So maybe we can club these 2-3 topics together and create a session for you. Generally, what your time for online training, can you please tell? Nigam is asking. Nigam, there is no particular timing for online training. Our live sessions are generally placed around at 6 p.m. or like the series is going on at 7 p.m. But other than the series, the live sessions that we do on Monday are at 7 p.m. each. Apart from that, we keep on adding videos to the channel. Like right now, we have a Java for Beginner series, right? For all those of you who want to understand Java, who want to learn Java, or who have already learned Java, but you feel that it is a very tiresome, cumbersome, boring kind of language. So we have tried to come up with videos in that series that help you understand every small or big detail of this language from the scratch. So starting from how to download Java or download Eclipse onto your machines, and what shortcuts in Eclipse you should be aware of so that you are able to program faster, right? All these small details that we somewhere miss while we are trying to learn a new language by the book or by online somewhere. These little tricks and tips that help you improve your programming are all part of that series, right? So you can subscribe to the channel and you'll keep getting mails or updates on when a new video is posted or when a new live session is coming up. But generally, coming back to the question, generally the sessions are placed at around 6 or 7 p.m. in the evening. All right. So Mahendra is asking, how can we iterate over map? So Mahendra, iteration over map is pretty simple, which is using iterators. We have iterators that help us iterate over any collection, which we are going to discuss tomorrow in tomorrow's session. We are also going to talk about comparator and comparable. And then we'll, like I said, we'll take a look at Eclipse to answer this question that was asked, that why we can't use hash map equals to new hash map. Why do we have to do map equal to new hash map, right? So all these questions will be answered in the session tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe, and tomorrow will be the last session in the series, so be ready with any questions, any doubts that you have for the session tomorrow. After that, I'll see you on the Monday session, that is next to next Monday live at 6 p.m. where I'll try to take the topics that you guys have mentioned, maybe MVC or hashing or a mix of 3-4 topics that you guys have posted all through this series for me to take up, and maybe I'll intimate you with the next series coming up. So that is one exciting thing that we are working on right now, what next we would come up for you guys. So stay tuned for that too. There's a lot of exciting stuff coming up on the channel, so don't forget to subscribe and have a very good day. I'll see you tomorrow at same time, 7 p.m. on this channel by TalentSprint. Thank you so much guys for joining me.